Double trouble, that's right. Mike's all business. I'm all party. We've got footage from Kurt's boys who participated in 3 super fights, which is super awesome. What's up, Pat? Each one of them, not a typical competition, just a one-on-one match against another local kid. They might be our most active students when it comes to competition, so they're getting well known around this area as far as being down for a match seemingly whenever. So yeah. We've got footage from them. We're going to start with Luke first. So let's see. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Or unless I'm going to play with settings for a minute. You guys can get mad at me if you want. I want to see if I could... Whatever. We'll go with it.
I think it looks good.
Yeah, that's fine. Take it out of this. Okay, so right off the bat, we've got Luke and his opponent, Brody. And I believe these two have competed against each other before.
Mm-hmm.
So Brody doing a good job cutting his angle with that over-under. Stepping behind Luke right there, and then pulling him backwards with a tight waist to get the takedown.
Yeah, it's a Tanya Toshi. Is what that reminds me of.
Yeah. See Papa Bear in the corner there.
Yeah. Luke's doing a really good job trying to go 2-on-1 in the closed guard. He's really actively looking for something. You can tell he's trying to set up, whether it be an armbar, triangle, really trying to control the arms. What I would like to see is Luke controlling posture too, which would be, behind Brody's head to keep him broken down. Here we go.
Yeah,
now I think if I recall, Kurt, the dad was yelling at him from the corner to control the posture.
Yeah, the other thing here, and Kurt and I talked about this once I got to review the matches, Brody's playing a very, very tight game, like right from the beginning. He's keeping his elbows very tight, which is going to make it difficult to isolate a limb, either across the body or away from the body. If I experience that with an opponent, I'm normally fighting for 2-on-1 grips where I have a hand behind, like in this case, I would have Luke, take his left hand to behind the elbow, his right hand to the wrist, right? 2-on-1 on that arm, trying to isolate it that way, pulling the arm away, pulling with my knees, trying to get a reaction out of my opponent to make it easier to isolate the arm. When that elbow's close to the body, it's very difficult to move it at all. The reason his opponent is doing that, not just to shut down any possible offense, but it also looks like he starts to go for this, good old-fashioned dig your elbows into their thighs to open up their guard, which honestly, these boys probably don't care too much about that. But Luke's looking to, it looked like he started to open his guard here a second ago.
Yeah, so Brody's trying to do the standing guard break, and immediately Luke is going down to grab the legs and to threaten the dummy sweep. So Brody sits back down, does a really good job. This is where I was really impressed with Brody's guard passing. So I really liked how he put the knee up the middle in order to start the guard pass, but in doing that, he completely left that right arm behind, and Luke took advantage of that by going into a very threatening armbar here.
Yeah, this was really good to see. I was very happy with this.
Yeah.
Let's go back to, so he's kind of going for that log splitter sort of style.
Yeah, and once you get the knee up through the midline, like once you get it past the hip line, you're in a pretty good spot. But I think what we normally do talk about that, right? Like bringing the knee up through the middle. But you have to really watch like how far away your elbow and your knee are from each other, because this is the risk that it runs.
Luke really getting to a good angle, just kind of getting stacked up a little bit. But Brody, yeah, he does a really good job cutting the angle he needs to get his arm safe. I think he kept his arm pretty tight. Like Luke probably didn't get the extension he needed here to get the finish. And we see our old pal Vernon refereeing all the matches, actually. He was a busy guy that day.
Yeah, always threatening this high guard. Luke is, trying to throw the legs up and over the shoulders. Brody doing a really good job of passing, staying forward to try and get both shoulders through.
Yeah, that was just a well-timed pass. Luke opens his guard. Brody says, "Ooh, I'm gonna disengage," and then he takes a very direct path to north-south. So Brody's up on points here, but Luke's doing a very good job keeping Brody from making any real submission threat, setting up anything too serious. Keeping his own elbows tight this time, winning the inside position. I think he's trying to capture the head, which, you're not going to see too many people attempting that beyond, white belt, beyond like being beginners. That's really the ending we're looking for, is seeing the knee come in right there and then starting to turn back around. I love that he was about to get up. He just got beaten to the punch here, so he goes to sit up, and Brody was quick to take him down. It looks like Brody has some wrestling experience based on that takedown earlier and the kind of the quick reaction time there, and the grapevines for that matter. I'm curious if he's trying to smother.
Luke's doing a good job trying to kip out. Now he's going to an elbow escape. This is a great, immediately trying to. Oh, and then, did you fast forward?
No, I didn't. Let me go back.
Oh, okay. Just kind of.
It like skipped there for a second. So there he's working the elbow escape. Gets the knee up the middle.
Yeah. And then he goes into almost like what we call like a kipping type of an escape, where he can get that knee up through the middle.
But yeah, so I think that was a really great match. Both of those kids were pretty remarkable. That was cool to see. I'm glad Luke got to. I thought he threw up a pretty dangerous armbar attempt there. Like Brody definitely had to react to that and adjust. He kept his base and he was able to cut his angle. Probably kept his arm tight enough to where Luke couldn't, get enough leverage on it to really send that one home. So
and he did a great job of really closing that distance back in to where even if he physically couldn't create the space because Brody was just encroaching.
Yeah. So really good match from both of them. Great job, Luke. We're really proud of you. And,
yes, absolutely.
I love watching these kids just get after it. It's really cool. Yep. So we missed kind of the slap hand, fist bump go here. We're a few seconds into the match. His opponent, I think we knew that this kid liked to pull guard. So we were kind of anticipating that. The bummer about this match was the lead up. We were just, we were helping these guys with no gi because we thought that's where it was going. This young man wanted a gi match, and Eric, is not one to turn down a challenge. So he was happy to throw the gi on. What I love about this is right off the bat. So even though his opponent pulls guard, he gets almost into closed guard, but Eric stays standing. Or no, not even. Eric responds to this in a way that you would if you did a standing guard break and got knocked down. So his legs are on the outside, right? He has outside position on the legs, and he pinches his knees together outside of his opponent's knees. And watch how long his opponent takes to react to this. He can't really do much.
Yep. And look at the hips. Like what Eric is doing here in order to get the hips, to get the feet up by bumping his hips up. That's we went over this the Thursday prior to him doing this. This was perfect. I'm so glad we went over this strategy.
Yeah, Yeah, so he gets the ankles exposed. Kurt's telling him, elevate the leg. We want to see him take it to his side. I'd like to see him with both hands on the legs. He kind of lost the other one. But he gets up. He gets to a top position and starts going on the attack. He's got the legs split now. Great. Just a great reaction.
Like Coach Bertram showed him with the passing. He was trying to really pin that leg, but his opponent, I mean, like, this kid, he's good.
He is.
Very good. But again, getting caught in the same position, and Eric recognizes the position and immediately, goes to try and get the legs out. So, I don't know if you said it or not, but one of the things that we were very worried about is that this kid has a killer guard pull to either armbar or triangle.
Yeah.
And so we really were trying to keep Eric on top if possible, but outside of this kid's close guard. So this was like a bad scenario that we had considered. But again, great composure by Eric here.
What would have been really cool, just like really high IQ move here, would have been to just turn 180 degrees so that he could clearly see what his dad's instruction is. That's, they've never done this in a cage before, but when you can, and his dad's right there, so he does have the advantage in being able to hear, hopefully. But back to the gi versus no gi differences here. When we teach the standing guard break in the no gi class, you often see either the bicep ties, right, hands to the biceps, or the V grips right up in the armpits as you go to stand up. All of that is in an effort to keep your opponent from controlling your posture. In the gi, which again we didn't have a chance to go over this, you don't worry so much about the collar tie as you do the lapel grip. So right off the bat, I mean, Eric's been holding this kid's weight now for a good bit of time, trying to stand up, and the kid he can just easily hang off of him. So the first thing he needs to focus on here is breaking that lapel grip. If he, can't manage to prevent it altogether before he got to a standing position. When that's a losing battle for me, I don't know how other people feel about this, but when I'm having trouble in this standing guard break, I just go back to the knees, I get my composure, I start to win my grip battle, and then I go back to it. I'm not going to stand here, let my back support the weight of my opponent, have my legs supporting that weight. I'll come back down, I'll adjust the grips, and then I'll go back to standing. So we'll just have to work on a little bit of grip breaking strategy, I think, to help him out with that position. So now the kid's up on an armbar. This was another trouble moment that we were concerned with, but we had prepared for.
Again, the kid had amazing armbar and triangle, and here Eric should feel just proud in and of itself that, number one, he survived the close guard here, right? And then as the kid starts coming up for this, he fends off. Yeah, I mean, beautiful hip switching from this kid.
Yeah, he gets to a really good angle, very deeply on the arm.
Very deep. But Eric is stacking. It's flipped onto his back, turning in, but he's not letting go of his grip yet, right? That's normally the last part of the escape is to let go of the grip and try to rotate out of it. But he maintains.
Yeah. Partner comes up on points because he can't finish the armbar. So he comes to mount for points, rather. And I'm assuming he starts thinking high triangle here, or mounted triangle from the higher mount position.
Eric's been here before. He's trying to deny that knee coming over top of the shoulder. He knows that's the threat, so he's holding on, it looks, to the pants. Taking now a grip.
And I believe that was time.
That was time, yeah.
So so Eric loses that match on points, but I think all things considered, as far as the preparation goes, how we saw his defense get to work. I mean, just the fact that, like, in the lead up to that, I'm pretty confident, and Kurt can correct me if he's watching, he wasn't familiar with the standing close guard break, and really, I think he and his brothers drilled that out, like, hopefully hundreds of times. I know I made him do it when I was training with him. So just to see them immediately put that to work in a match, again, a little bit of a monkey wrench thrown into it with the lapel grips, but you know, he did really well with that. And man, just to shut down that kid's armbar makes me super happy. So
I'm so proud.
Yeah,
this
great.
was on Saturday. Might get you in headlock. So July 1st.
Yep. All right, so on to the last match. We've got Kale going up against his opponent, and right off the bat, there's something I wanna address here. So right there, Kale is I mean, even when I roll with him, we slap hands, we fist bump, and he loves to rush forward, which I don't know, I like it because I like to see that these kids are moving forward, being the aggressor, not being passive. That's something we often have to address with, like, younger students or beginners, especially if they're going into competition. You know, don't just keep backing away and slapping hands away and this and that. Kale won't do that. Kale goes for it. Problem with going for it is you got to be ready for a double like this. You know, I'm not, when Kale rushes towards me, I'm not shooting a double on him and putting him on his butt. I normally let him work, but, you know, kids in competition aren't going to do that. So you can see as he comes in, he's coming pretty upright. His legs are, you know, there for the picking. And this kid just quick level change, gets the penetration step, drives through on a nice double.
Really beautiful double.
Yeah.
He actually chooses to step into guard rather than passing immediately, which was an interesting tactic. I wonder whether it was just an error on his part or
maybe he thought he could jump over the leg.
Maybe he felt like the leg was low. That's probably what it was. Or
he could just be, you know, get his 2 points on the takedown, get points on the pass, you know, like just go into a position where he feels confident that he could rack up some points. The body triangle from close guard. A bunch of you long-legged students of ours do this from time to time. At first, like the first time somebody ever did this to me, I was like, what is happening? I've never had this happen to me before, and it seems very uncomfortable and maybe useful, but I personally don't think it is. Reason being, body triangles, when you typically see them, are used on the back. The reason for that is to limit mobility. You want to fix your hips to your opponent's hips. You don't want them to be able to misalign themselves so that you can set up your strangle and get the finish, right? We are not strangling from close guard. On top of that, mobility is an important part of being in close guard. So, you know, if we think about the fight we just watched, Eric's opponent got the armbar and cut his angle around, right? That all involved having an open guard where mobility was key. So I'll say, unless you're using this because you're deep into a match and maybe you're tired and you just want to like lock your opponent down for a minute and
you're up on points or whatever,
or that, strategically, I guess it can be useful right here at the beginning of a match. You know, again, unless Kale is just like, let me get my wits about me. I don't want to see you guys relying too heavily on this body triangle from close guard. That's not just because I can't do it. I'm not jealous of this. I swear. I just don't see the utility when you're trying to be offensive, or when you should be trying to be offensive. Kale looking cool as a cucumber here, though. Totally chill. Getting that arm across the body. Partner takes it back. His partner looking for a self-inflicted guillotine here. I think maybe he's thinking about a katagatame, you know, like the arm triangle, except you don't hit that from close guard, so a little bit of a mistake on his opponent's part here. Kale says, I'll take it.
So he switches sides.
Try to the other side. No,
Kale switches sides.
doesn't work over there either.
Kale is really looking for underhooks. You can tell he is looking to isolate the arm. He's had the arm isolated twice, but doesn't look like he's been very confident in being able to cut the angle quickly.
There he's trying.
But here, he does.
And he goes belly down, which makes a lock that much more threatening. And the ref calls it. So I don't think his opponent was too pleased.
Yeah.
But, man, with these kids' matches, I don't mind. I mean, even if Kale was on the receiving end of this, I wouldn't mind Vern calling it.
No, better be safe than sorry. There's no sense in taking a break, over.
Not at that age. Yeah.
No. You're not getting paid for it, so no sense.
So yeah, Kale gets him off balance. His opponent kind of takes him over, but Kale's cool to finish it from belly down. Working really hard to pry that arm free. I'd say the only thing I want to see improvement on here. I worked with them about this. He looks good there. So he's digging his heels towards his butt, which is really what I want to see. There he's kind of putting it down. He's pinching the knees, but he's straightening his legs. Just gives your opponent a little too much room to work. I want to see the heels kind of pulling back towards the body. But either way, regardless, he gets the call from the ref and gets his hand raised. So yeah, don't look forward to these kids getting, dude. Yeah, I 100% agree, Pat. Because I'm only going to be older and more broken by then. And that's not going to be good for any of us. A little good sportsmanship at the end. And yeah, so killer job, boys. Like, we're so proud of you. The work you guys put in leading up to this was really tremendous.
Yes.
And the improvements you made in your game were innumerable. Like so many things that we worked on, you took it right into the cage. So really, really awesome work. Super proud of you guys.
Absolutely.
So let's see. Onward, we're going to look at footage from this past Monday, which was a unique Monday. Luke decided to make the fundamentals class kind of sort of an open mat, so everybody got to have a little bit of sweat time, and we forgot to turn the camera on for a little bit, so we got about 30 minutes of footage from that, and we were all pretty dead by the time we went home that night. So it sucks. I turned the camera on right after I had a really fun, really active round with Luke, so of course we missed that.
I can't see it on my screen.
Oh wait, hold on, let me I'm gonna share that. There we go. Good.
Got it. Yep.
Yeah, this was we had gone through the fundamentals class, and Luke never made us all line back up, so we're deep into the open mat now when I realized it was time to start it.
Oh, those mats, oh my god.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty. James is just pissed that we caught him getting armbarred here by Danny. Yeah. I mean, between advanced fundamentals and however much I survived with open mat, this was about 2.5 hours of rolling for me that day, and I feel like I'm still recovering. So Danny goes for, what is happening here? I'm gonna look at this. Danny's kind of off screen. Okay, yeah, that's fine. So Danny goes for the armbar, and James sneaks out the side here, but this puts Danny into that like shoulder triangle sort of position where it gets really hard to roll up against to extract the arm. James, I think if you could have beaten the knee, like that would have been your last hope of getting out, but That's a tough spot to get to. Your opponent could just hang their weight on your shoulders, and it makes rolling forward and extracting the arm super difficult.
Okay, so you're training with Aries.
We got Ben and Brandon.
Jason. Okay.
And I didn't put my camera, so I missed. Yeah, I know. I was really bummed, man. I'm sure a lot of people had some great rounds today.
Yeah.
Me and Josh. Of course. You hit like all the gnarliest subs before the camera went up, man.
Yeah.
And Justin and Brandon. Cool. Josh is doing a good job as usual here, bugging my posture and making it difficult for me to set up anything. I'm admittedly being a bit more defensive here than I like to be, but I was looking for an arm spin, I think, yeah. And I was like, you know what? We're super sweaty. This probably isn't going to work, but if it works, it'll look cool, so let me try it. I don't think I got my head out to where it needed to be, though. Like, you kind of need to duck. I needed to, like, duck under him and around. I don't know. I got to work on that move. I feel like I'm just used to it being done on me, and I've never really practiced it, so.
You went in for the ankle pick.
I had the makings of a nice one because I had the head control. Right here, I should have gone for it. I wasn't in the most. Well, yeah, no excuses. I should have gone for it. Like, sent it.
You were really planted on that backhand. I feel like.
Yeah. If
you shifted your weight just a little bit sooner, I don't know. I feel like the timing was, not in your favor.
Yeah. What's up, Elden Knob?
What's up? So I like the way that Josh is sitting here. Really nice. I kind of wish he would have stayed in that reverse Kesa, but it looks like he's whittling past your guard.
Yeah, I mean he just about knee cut through. I very lately recaptured his ankle.
Yep, and then he's still trying to go around. Gets the pass here. I mean, it's late in the rounds.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm tired, obviously. That's the only reason he passed.
It's not good technique or anything, that's for sure.
No.
He's not on, right?
He's only a white belt.
Yeah.
Shouldn't say that. We probably got him on camera tapping us, or at least me.
Yeah.
I don't care what belt
really
you are.
Belt.
Right, yeah. A forearm across the face on a very powerful rear naked strangle will make anybody tap, regardless of what belt they are. At least in the training room, it should.
Yeah.
So here, I think he's looking to take the back, and I just wasn't giving him the upper body grip he needed to secure that. So meanwhile, Justin has made his way to the back, but he needs to get a hook in on this.
Reaching through for interesting, like a power half.
Yeah, that grip.
Yeah, he just gets just a regular half Nelson is what he has.
Yeah. But he's got a
But he's
gift wrap
grabbing
too.
those forearm. Yeah. Wow, I gotta try
different.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's an odd angle on Brandon. Brandon's kind of. Oh, I see what he's doing. He's trying to grab the arm. That makes sense.
So yeah, he gets set up there early on with the right grip that he would need. Normally you see this, that hand being in front with an underhook, maybe grabbing the wrist.
And once the right hand passes over the head, he has an armbar threat.
That's clever. And he's not aligned with Brandon, which that's typically when you're going to switch to the armbar from the back, is when you aren't aligned for the strangle.
Yep. So that's where he gets the head passed onto the proper side that he wants. See, but now he has a rear triangle, and I don't see him locking that part up. You see that? Like,
briefly,
he had the ability to throw that right leg over top of the shoulder and get a reverse trap triangle top lock, or reverse top lock, whatever the hell Danaher calls it nowadays.
Yeah. Josh looking for the smother here, which I'm not going to give him ever. And notice
Gavin had a really good armbar.
Say again?
On me. Gavin had a really good armbar on me. He was in the middle of setting up a triangle. So he pulls me in, gets the leg over. That's all well and good, but I had been escaping his triangle. But I wanted to test him to see if he realized that the arm was there, and clearly he did. Like, he starts bringing me over, and then instead of trying to pass my arm across the body, which I'm not going to let him do, right? I'm going to resist it. I'm going to keep it at his hip, if not try and tuck it around his hip, on my right side, his left hip. Mm-hmm. He instead keeps the triangle, back heels in and extends away, and then he's passing my arm across the left hip, so my right arm across his left hip, and gets a really solid straight arm finish. Yeah,
this is great. I'm gonna I know I've said this during some armbar footage reviews. When we break arms with armbars, think about a traditional armbar position like we just saw with James and Danny briefly before Danny switched to the shoulder Senkaku setup. We have a leg across the body, a leg across the head. If you're breaking their right arm, you break it over your right hip. If you're breaking their left arm, you break it over your left hip. Exception to that is triangle arm bars. So here we see Gavin doing the exception. He's breaking Mike's right arm over his left hip, which is the correct way to do it from here. The leverage favors this as the exception compared to the rule, quote unquote, of the standard armbar position. So I just want to point that out. Doing my best to escape a very slippery mount from Josh.
Let's see if does he stay. I really like how he's working his way down your arm here.
And riding behind my legs too.
Yeah.
Oh, look at Justin's going for the old twister.
Yep.
And he's got him in the spot for it. Oh, Brandon brings the arm back over. He might not be totally out of the woods yet. Now he is. Okay. Nice.
Really solid attempt.
Actually, I want to see him
really good escape too.
Yeah, for sure. So he gets he's trying to set up the crossbody ride. He's got the leg on the bottom, trying to control the top arm, sneaking the head in. Now he's got to get the right arm. Oh, you know, I think that's why this didn't work. With a twister,
his right arm is below the body rather than above.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
below the shoulder rather than above the shoulder.
Yeah, Justin, if you watch this, I want to see you not just swim your head through to this, swim your whole body through to this. So like your shoulder line, both arms and your head should be on top of Brandon's arm here. Then you can reach your right arm behind the head and connect with your left hand to get the twister, get the grip for the twister. If you leave your arm behind, I'm not going to say it won't work. I think Luke actually does it this way sometimes. I know he's taught it that way before. I just am not convinced that is the most mechanically sound way of doing it. Plus, you get your whole body pinning that top arm. This is a crossbody ride, so you need a lot of control over that, the diagonal arm and leg. So I'll favor more control, especially if it's just my body weight holding the arm down, to get the twister, as we've seen, guys like Eddie Bravo, but more traditionally freestyle wrestlers when they hit what they call a guillotine.
The guillotine,
the twister. It's the same thing. That's how you'll see them do it. They'll have their whole body over top of the arm, not the inside arm behind the head like that, or
Pretty sure
under the body.
Originally, when Eddie taught this move, it was a full under and then grabbing the head and then just only having the arm wrapping around your head. But I have seen other variations, and I think it is a tighter finish when you can pass your arm up and over top of the shoulder.
Yeah, I think you rely on more of a neck crank. It's like when you leave the arm underneath, you're trying to pull their head offline.
Yep.
And I'd rather hit a full like spinal torque than just that neck crank, because not everybody will tap to that.
Mm-hmm. Really solid knee riding type position here from Justin, getting past the guard.
With old Gumby neck again. Hey, you're just chilling, Pat. Ain't nothing wrong with chilling. You let the people come to you, and that's a power move, and I respect that.
Nice.
Yeah, so try to go for a weak Uchimata attempt, or maybe a hard Goshi attempt, but as Chris slips behind me, he just steps his foot into a very vulnerable spot, and I just take advantage. Not going to go for any like Kani Basami dangerous stuff here, just basically an ankle pick, if you think about it, into a cross ashi or a reverse ashi, and then I think I work my way to cross.
He's doing a really good job of keeping his left ankle pulled in, denying the cross ashi full entry.
I couldn't really get anything set up.
That was good.
But I'll take a guard pass against him.
He's a fast learner. Like, he hasn't really been in the leg lock game for that long, and I know we've all run him through the paces, or put him through the paces on those entries. Man. Yeah.
It's getting harder and harder. Notice how
he's
go ahead.
Fast.
Yeah.
He's just such a fast learner.
I want you guys to notice, since it's side control week, just how much I'm doing to maintain the pass here. So I've lost my leg attack, but immediately we all know how good Chris is at retaining guard or re-guarding if he's not there yet. So he's got his elbow frame down against my hip. He's got this like underhook across my body. which I'm not too worried about. I think I have more influence over that arm than he does right now, but I don't like the elbow. And I certainly don't want his left knee finding that left elbow. So I'm turning my hips to his legs right now, keeping my knee posted between the legs and trying to like ride up to keep him from being able to turn to me. I dig on my far side underhook, and then now I address the elbow, his left elbow that has come to frame my hip. Switch underneath when I see some space. I turn my hips back up and I try to settle into my side control. He's keeping tension on the arm to make it really difficult for me to like fully establish it. But as he starts to turn towards me again, take a page out of Peter's book and run to north-south to prevent the knee from fully coming back in and taking the position away from me.
Head over the face for the cross-face arm, or cross-face leg for the armbar attempt.
Yeah, I think I wanted to set up a rear triangle here, but I couldn't get his head to the position I wanted, so
I've done the same thing. He does a really good job of keeping his head very low.
Yeah, so now it's into fighting the grip. Try the little rodeo grip break here that really just kind of hurts my own arms, so I didn't bother to crank on it too hard.
Got to show you what Matt had shown me about that. Can you zoom back, or can you go back? All right, so one thing I learned from Mr. Hudson as he was training with us is that if you switch your right arm to your left arm, so here, right, instead of doing the rodeo grip break there and switching, you take your right arm and you feed it underneath Chris's right leg. So you're going to dive down and hook the leg really hard. And then what that does, so, why hook the leg, right? If you hook the leg, then Chris can't posture up, or he can't rotate and stack you anymore because he has no ability to plant and drive. And as this happens, you can take your left leg over top of his left arm
right into this gap here.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you force the elbow down towards the head. And
I remember that.
I forget about it until somebody does this.
Yeah.
And then my brain goes in overload and I'm like, shit, what do I do? But I could see it clearly here, so we've got to both drill it into our brains so that we can start using this effectively.
Yes. Yeah, I need to revisit that for sure.
Yeah, let's drill that next time.
Yeah. So I don't feel like cranking too hard on that.
No.
But I do feel like trying to switch to a triangle, and in this case, to a wrong way triangle.
The Hantai.
So I get to the position, but I have a pretty good feeling Chris isn't going to let me actually get a strangle here. So I use the plan B of the Hantai Senkaku, which is the Kimura. Incorrect spelling. I'm going to put you in timeout.
You should Google it.
Yeah.
You should totally Google it.
So here I get my grip, and Chris knows he's in some trouble, so I start to take him over and get the finish. I hope I didn't miss that tap. No, it looked like he didn't tap. There he does. And remember, the position here is similar to the rear triangle. When you get an arm in this position where it's like out in front of you and you're hitting the Kimura from there, you don't need to get the knuckles behind the back like you do with the traditional Kimura where it's out to the side. The range of motion is very, very limited here. So if you find yourselves playing around with this technique, like any submission, don't slam it home. If you want to see what happens when you do a Kimura from the Hantai Senkaku and they don't tap, you can look up, I don't even remember the other kid, but Ethan Krellinston had a match in like 2016, I think, where he snapped the kid's arm. And if you guys like hearing the sounds of bones breaking, that's a good match to watch.
Yeah, and the reason why that works is that left leg that's underneath the shoulder. What it does is it forces the shoulder to be completely impinged because number one, Chris's elbow is higher than the shoulder, so there's full impingement here, right? Once that happens, then it's very difficult to start rotating. You can even feel it just from a regular movement, right? If you make your elbow go north of your shoulder, it's much more difficult for you to rotate your arm. And here, Matt is using his left leg to shore that up to make sure that he can't get his elbow down. And that's why the break comes on so much faster.
Yeah. Steven going for his own Kimura against Braden, I believe. Hitting the Kimura trap. Trying to roll around for it. Ooh, Braden jumping for that armbar. Just slipping off the hand. Have you and Josh been training over there? Oh, you guys are just talking.
No. Yeah, I'm going over it with so Gavin had a question on the single leg X pass.
Trying to crowd my bottom knee into the hip here to get the pass. Almost getting swept. That was really, really good of Chris. It was going to be tight. Yeah, it looked like it was fully extended when he went for that jump. Where was it again? Yeah. Yeah, he had you there. That was not a good looking position for you. Now you're up in a dogfight with him. You slip out the back. And Pat getting a sweep here on Brandon from half guard-ish. Looks like Brandon just about passed, but he doesn't have the underhook.
Oh, he's got the John Wayne sweep. Oh, maybe? No,
No.
He goes deep half.
Yeah, so the legs, is he even a deep half? I don't even think he has the leg scooped. He's got the tight waist. Brandon doesn't have the underhook. And if you look, like, he just pulls him right over top of him. And Brandon doesn't base out with that left arm in time.
Yeah, his right arm is actually either at the hip or has the arm. Yeah, he has Brandon's wrist.
Yeah.
Pat said that he's been having a lot of success with the John Wayne sweep. We've been going over it.
Hell yeah.
As a viable option for either getting like for the knee lever, either getting the underhook back or just getting a full on John Wayne sweep or even just that knee lever sweep.
Yeah.
Avoiding the lockdown. Yeah, expanding the game, right?
Yeah, you have been very good about that. His weight felt weird. That means it was probably
really
your weight to move at that point.
Oh, you slipped the hook in. Good. Okay.
Really bad body triangle for me.
It's just an awkward angle. He's doing really good to blade his hips out.
So Braden gets an arm triangle here. From the Kimura threat. So, I mean, for what it's worth, I think if Steven wanted to, Braden should be addressing that Kimura first. I think Steven has him in a pretty bad position, even from mount. You're not going to see that too frequently, like getting a Kimura on somebody who's mounting you, but I would like to see Braden address that sooner.
So
Steven kind of lets it go there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the Kimura from mount, if Braden were to pull his hips around the left shoulder, Steven's right shoulder, he can reverse the position pretty. He'd have to get his hand back, right? Like, he could either.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead. Finish that thought.
Yeah, he could either continue to ride up the body or start cutting the angle to his left, Steven's right. And it should alleviate the pressure because it's going to straighten the arm out as he starts to rotate around. And then he'll wind up with an underhook on that arm. It has the a potential armbar, actually.
The other option I'm thinking is stepping this knee over the whole grip here and hiding it under the body. Again, thinking about preventing the knuckles from getting behind the back as another option for addressing this and keeping your arm safe.
Yep. Yeah, but Steven's he
being
sensed the tension and completely let go, which is nice.
And then yeah, Chris did a good job here early on, making the alignment difficult, addressing the grip while at the same time misaligning his hips, which that's a skill in and of itself. Like you really got to practice that. It's difficult to focus on keeping your neck safe and moving your legs in good positions to get safe.
Even in cross-ashi.
See if he puts him down. Nope.
No. It's being kind. I'm not used to Steven being. Why? Steven, why aren't you kind when we train?
Yeah, what the hell?
Come on, man. He would break my arm if I had him in mount. Ever.
I get him there just for like a half second at a time, maybe, if I'm lucky. I don't think anybody does anything over on that side of the mat. So this is just me.
Yeah, it's you and Steven. It looked like you were starting from side control.
Oh, yeah. That's fair.
Yeah.
I had mount here for longer than a half second. Steven was being very passive, though. I think we were both pretty well worn at this point. Dude, the positional round that you and I had at the end of advanced class was that was actually, I feel like that was probably more exciting than a lot of our our death matches that we have.
Yeah, well, we had to reset when one of us either got out or whatever. So yeah, that was fun.
Yeah,
and it was like what, 20, almost 30 minutes worth of
felt like
rolling. Yeah.
Slow, lazy escape. And then here I was trying to hit a full roll through and Steven just didn't let my knee slip at all. And got the knee bar. Let's see how this happens. So I just kind of leave my leg behind like an idiot. As I start to stand, he pulls into Rimiyashi. What I should have done was work up to a standing position instead of trying to high leg over here from this weak position. I don't know if maybe I was thinking I didn't want to stand up in this giant puddle of sweat and probably just slip, but try to roll with it. And Steven makes a great adjustment there, holding the heel, which is, God, where's my damn pointer? There it is. Probably what did it for me was this heel grip, I think, Steven, because that immediately shut down my ability to roll any further from here, or not roll, but turn within your legs. So I completely had to tap to that one.
That's such a good knee bar.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if he had gripped my ankle, there wouldn't have been a knee bar. It all came down to that grip position.
Yeah. I think you would have turned because he had heel exposure and you were, the most viable threat that you had there was the outside heel hook.
Right.
And so I think you turned preemptively before he captured your heel, because I don't think you probably didn't feel like you could hide the heel at that time. So I think the roll through is standing is definitely going to be what I what I advise the most.
There's
But
a heel
this
slip.
position here is where I'm like, yep, this is outside heel hook territory. You need to start rolling, right?
Yeah, there's my heel poking through, so that's a good point. He hasn't quite switched to the grip yet, but he's got that like handbrake right on my knee where it's coming soon. And then
that was a good chain of thoughts going through Steven's head there, because he just kind of organically went straight into that.
Yeah, that's even better adjustment. So here from the double under, for a second I was thinking
this was good. I remember I was watching this from the sidelines.
Yeah, well, I was thinking, let me pull him over me. I'm in butterfly. I could switch it to a leg entrance, but I feel like Steven, I feel like you expect that from me. So I just said, let me just try to bear hug sweep you instead. So I go to stand up and then just use the double under position to take you over instead. Nothing fancy, nothing major. It was like, I'm not going to go into legs, have him hip switch out, and then flatten me, which he's been very adept at doing lately. So working to get that knee elbow connection, you always hear me talking about. Getting my knee through half guard. Steven trying to take it away. But I feel pretty good here with this underhook. This is just kind of typical half guard passing for me. Using the foot wedge for the last little mile there, and then trying to settle in, only to probably lose this position minutes later or seconds later.
Going into the high mount.
I think I looked at the clock there and was like, I can't believe there's over 3 minutes left in this round. So Steven's nicely letting me get his arm over the head. It's never that easy. But I didn't want to throw up a mounted triangle or an S mount because Steven's probably the best person at slipping out of those. Like, he slips out the back all the time, so I try to go for the katagatame instead, just to switch it up for once. And none of it works anyway, and he sweeps me. So much sportsmanship. Meanwhile, Steven adjusts his grip.
Notice no one's going for standing guard break yet. It's so slippery. I do not blame anybody.
Man, I think with the new fans in though, I think that'll dissipate a little faster.
We're gonna have to bring long sleeve rash guards. It's gonna be chilly.
We're all gonna get to that weird, like, you were sweaty a second ago and now your skin's like super sticky, kind of spot. Everybody's gonna be arm dragging everybody. Oh, Big Brandon will love that.
Yeah.
So I'm in a bad spot here. I was a second ago with my arm very highly isolated. And now I'm just trying to prevent the chest pressure on the smother or being waterboarded by Steven's disgusting rash guard. But yeah, I don't know what Steven's intentions were here as far as working towards submissions or anything. I can't move him at all. This is a spot where, you know, you may think about, you want to think about isolating an arm, right? And that's, this is exactly it. So, Steven doesn't have the arm from that heavy chest to face position. So he comes up and starts going 2-on-1 to try and isolate. Here he's trying to wrist lock me, which was so rude. But that's typically what you'll see people do when they don't have an arm isolated from mount. They won't ride this heavy pressure mount. They'll instead sit back up, try to work their 2-on-1s, isolate an arm, get it over the head, and proceed from there. Almost looks like he's waiting for me to get my left arm across so he can come around the back. He's got that underhook or that crossface behind my head, which would make it easy for him to pull me up into his lap as he turns the corner. Mercy grips right off the bat with these two. This is cute. This is really adorable. There we go. Did you guys just slip there? What happened? Ooh, look at that little cross Ashi entrance from Steven. So, working the false reap position.
So the false reap is a great counter to a knee cut.
Yeah.
With or without the underhook, doesn't matter.
Popping that dump truck up in the air, settling right into his cross Ashi. Damn, and then I guess just a straight ankle. Yeah, it looks like a straight ankle grip on the secondary leg. That was nice, Steven. Nice transition from the false reap into the cross Ashi. And then, does it happen again here? I feel like I saw this one. Yeah, same thing. Same exact thing. That's so embarrassing for Josh. Let's watch it again. So, slips in. Now he's in the false reap. One thing, Mike, you could probably speak to this better than me, but so I like what Steven's doing with the cross shoulder post with his right arm, but that seems like a weak grip to just have the one hand on the leg here, but it's not working for him.
Yeah.
Right.
So there is an element there's the element of feeling out your, and me and Steven actually talked about this briefly after this round. There's an element of you having to feel where your partner's weight is and like where you need to send them. So like in this first one with this knee cut, Josh really commits forward, and
yeah, like he puts the knee to the ground.
Yep, this is how Steven is able to elevate the hips. But then watch what happens when Steven sits back down. Josh is like, oh shit, something happened, and he winds up sitting to his butt. And what that allows Steven to do is completely get his hips out. Well, that doesn't always happen. And then in the second one, Josh is wiser to it. He knows that it's coming. He knows that he messed up already. But see how he's pressuring in to Steven here? This is not going to let Steven do the same motion and really set Josh down by him, scooping the left leg forward, because Josh is forward. So Steven has to give Josh a push along Steven's hip line in order to get him off balance, in order to go into this cross Ashi entrance. So there is a need here for that off balance with that cross shoulder post.
Okay.
It's interesting because this one, the rule is based off of, in my opinion, right? This is just me, and Steven's got just as much experience in this position now that I do. But like, you really have to sense where their body weight is, and you have to kind of push them along their hips along your hips in order to get into this position.
Yeah, I see what you mean. We'll go ahead.
That's why I like to set this up. That's why I like to set this up from the Yoko Sumigaeshi, is because when I lift on the far leg, it guides their weight along my hip, and it sends it to the opposite hip for me. And I can always catch the leg when I can elevate them like that.
Yeah, that position lends itself really well to a cross Ashi finish.
I think Josh shuts down the the false reap. Maybe I imagine it. I think Steven tries to go for it again here. See if he drops that leg back.
Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't far from it with like the low knee shield half guard.
Oh, no, I imagined it.
So Josh is in mount, but he's not quite getting to where he wants to against that arm. Josh, when you find yourself there, try to, when you're about to bail on the head position of the katagatame, try to catch it with your arm. You know, do what you can to keep that elbow isolated above the shoulder line. Here you can see Steven pressures back down, and you just kind of swim over the arm. I'd rather see you, for like a split second, you're good right here, just recollect it. And then keep that elbow above the head. Like you had it there for a second. That's a hard battle to win, so I don't like to give that up too easily. I was talking shit to Luke about our match. I'm finally able to elevate Luke, which makes me feel so much better. So yeah, we're just deep into basically a grip fight at this point. I'm gonna speed ahead a little bit, I think. Looks like Steven's even chilling a little. Trying to get Josh off balance. So Steven, for what it's worth here, Josh is riding high on you for quite a long period of time. Get your you may have your frame in across the hip. I think maybe you do. As best you can, try to shoulder walk out of that position just to get Josh's hips back down over yours, and then you could think about working the kipping escapes. Yeah, like right here you're doing it. That's exactly it. It seemed like you were up there he was up there for a long time before you managed to get him to a hip position that was more advantageous for your escape. So now you get him out back in half guard. And I know that could be easier said than done, especially if you're relying on bridging movements, like you got to plant your feet, and if you're in a puddle of sweat, your bridge is going to be pretty weak. So some of the options may be limited. You guys are just about going off screen, aren't you?
Yep.
This is the best stream footage ever. Let's see, we missed a little guard break or something.
Oh yeah, standing guard break.
Yeah, Steven reguards.
Josh did a really good.
He sidesteps out of the sweat puddle.
Yep.
There we go. Looking to give up on it a little too soon, Josh. When you're dealing with someone who's fishing that knee in, what I like to do, just first, it's super simple. Doesn't take much effort on your part. Use your same side arm against their bottom knee. Reach down and grab it, just like a little scoop grip on their knee, and turn them so that their back is to the mat, right? Or in this case, turn Steven towards his right. That typically takes his right knee in this case out of the way of your knee elbow connection that you're trying to establish. So as you're trying to dig in here, Steven's making it difficult. You need Steven's knee pointing out of the screen right now. So just turn him in that direction with the hand on the bottom knee, lifting him up and turning him. Nice, very nice. almost with the power half. Steven was ready for it and just did a quick turn. Which, it's not a bad option. Spinning back and settling for guard as opposed to initiating a scramble and either losing that and having mount taken on you, or just getting right to where you are now, or having your back taken. Almost a hip bump. Good timing. That was really great timing. So when we look for hip bumps, this is when we want to see it. When our opponent sits butt to heels and goes upright. You're not going to get a hip bump sweep from your back, so you have to be able to sit up into them. So that's what you look for here. So as Josh goes to get it, sits up, he opens his guard, lowers that right leg, sweeps the legs out, does a great job there. The only problem with the hip bump against a more experienced opponent is you need to have a plan B for it. What I love to do from these is the triangle setup. So right from here, there's a very clear path for Josh's bottom leg to go over Steven's shoulder. As Josh plants on his right arm, he can lift his hips up and his leg up, throw it over the shoulder, and start looking for triangles or arm bars. I'm not upset about just standing out of this. I guess I prefer just going more on the offensive there. And I think they call it at the end of that. But that was a killer,
a good round.
Killer hip bump attempt for sure.
Oh yeah, Brandon called you out.
He did, little punk. I think this is the last round, so props to him for going all the way through to the last round. Was this? No, he had a great single leg on me in that same position earlier where he came up with it. And we talked about taking our opponent backwards as an option, as a secondary option to like running the pipe on a head inside single. Instead, I think just, again, end of the night, kind of a low energy finish from him here, so which I totally understand. I gave one too, where I just step outside for a little a Sotogari on a kneeling opponent. So I'm doing a lot of the same stuff I was doing before, where I was trying to maintain side control. A little bit of hip switching before Brandon decided to turtle up here. And my intention here wasn't just to like be mean and crucifix him like Pat thought I was trying to do. I was looking for a very specific Kimura that you do with the legs. We've looked at it a little bit here in the past, but that either legs Kimura or reverse omoplata, I think some people call it. I just kind of wanted to play around with it, but Brandon was not having it, so he was being highly defensive and keeping his arm safe, so I had to switch on to other things. The benefit of coming out of that crucifix position, though, is that I have the arm trapped. So I see early on I hook the arm, and through no point in this transition do I lose it. And I think, all right, let me work to the back where I will already have the arm trapped, and I can go on my way towards the straitjacket. That's right. Should have just taken that.
Set up the ankle pick.
Yeah. I think we're both pretty exhausted by this point.
Yeah, it was a long night of training.
Very slow on my takedown attempts. Brandon's also getting very he's getting very proficient with his singles, so I had to be on the lookout for those. I don't know how much energy he had to follow through on them at this point, but they're definitely dangerous.
Nice to sigh.
Yeah, so this was an interesting grip where normally for the Sasai you just need, like, I'll settle for a regular collar tie or a grip on the tricep, the near side tricep. Here you can see I'm reaching all the way up and over the neck, like all the way to the far side trap, to get the turn that I want out of this. It's like his head's a giant yo-yo and I'm just about to like throw it down. So I get the grip and I'll hit my step across the body, and then I block the leg and I pull his body over through it, just trying to get him down to the mat. Nothing pretty. Trying to keep his hips and legs away as I try to establish side control. But with this leg position that we have, where he's got his leg in and I have one leg stapled, this is a prime spot to utilize float passing. This was the stuff that like we learned forever ago at a Gordon Ryan seminar. He came out with it later in one of his instructionals, but really useful if you get your hands heavy and your legs light. So you'll see me, I'm kind of shifting my weight up over the head. I should have kept that leg down. I take my shoelaces to his shoelaces of the leg that is blocking my hips, and I'm looking to just pick my hips up, extend my leg, and get his knee out of the way, which I don't think I do very well here. He hip switches and I have to change styles, but that was my intention at that point. I just have to get better at it. I gotta suck less. Big high step over for mounts.
Yep, legs pointing or knees pointing in the same direction. Prime for a mount.
So he's working towards his elbow escape now. He's got my leg captured almost to the knee. There he is. And he gets a sweep. So he brought up after this match, working the body lock pass. So Brandon, if you watch us, one thing I want you to take note of is the first step I was telling you about, which is shelving a leg across both of your hips. I kind of do it for you here when I extract my left leg. What I want to see though is my right foot peeking out over your right leg. So ideally you're going to force me to this position. And then what you're going to look to do is step your left knee, in this case your left knee, over my right knee and start cutting around my legs in that fashion. Right now I'm controlling your head position, so it's not really an option for you. But that's the idea.
Oh, nice.
He really
goes right in.
Yeah, he really likes going for that triangle escape anytime he senses that threat.
That was sick. That was awesome.
He did that
straight
to
into
me.
The leg entry.
Yeah, he did it to me earlier in the night too. He stays very composed here. He's pushing away, creating the space.
What I like about this even more is the fact that he's hiding his right foot from you. Like he's not really allowing you to extract. I think he should, as he becomes more and more proficient with this, his right foot is going to be the biggest problem for him.
Yeah.
Because you have counterattacks.
Yeah, like right here.
Yep. So here, he's doing a good job of getting it away. I just want him to be a little bit more on top of getting that right foot out of danger.
Yeah. Yeah, he needs to switch either right into outside to keep that leg safe, because he can't just sit into Irimiyashi from here and hide that foot underneath me. Or he could start rolling. I mean, if he goes to, since he doesn't have the heel, if he switches to outside, I would expect him to start rolling if he wanted to get the heel. But now it was just a matter of get my foot flat and then start trying to untangle the legs.
So Gavin and Braden, if you watch this later, I don't think they're watching right now, but that is the this is the guard break that we were talking about from Single Leg X. So again, Matt is going through, he's weighting up his back leg. He's actually, you're probably pretty level, 50-50 on your feet here. But generally speaking, you want a light front leg for to kind of get behind the legs here, but you're peeling away the left foot and then the right knee and pushing those away, clearing the legs. Now you're going to see the weight shift over to the right foot, so that you can back step with your left leg. Now here you're kind of a little off balance, but you maintain you get your balance back, and then here we see the back step coming in and then straight into the mount, which is really nice.
Yeah, I was kind of glad we talked about that before this round.
Yeah.
Then Brandon immediately elbow escaping.
Legs are wide open. It looks like you're setting up. Yeah, okay.
So now we're into a rear triangle position if I can get my right leg across. And Brandon knows the danger here, getting the arm over the head. He knows he's in a vulnerable spot, but didn't go crazy on it. So yeah.
Nice. That was a good round too. Wow.
That was, and that night was so much more active than we had footage for. I wish we had it, but we probably would have had to do like a 3-hour stream if we wanted to look at all of it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, any case, thank you guys so much for joining in tonight, and big props to Kale and Eric and Luke on their performances at their super fights. Again,
yeah,
so proud of you guys. You guys represent the school so well, and
absolutely,
you definitely show. There are adults who can learn from your work ethic. So keep up the good work, guys. We'll keep working with you.
Absolutely.
Take it easy, guys. Thanks, Steven. Thank you, Caleb. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Pat. If you guys like what you're seeing, follow us here. Thanks again to Mike Get You in a Headlock for the follow earlier this evening. And if you like what you see, subscribe if you can. Use your Twitch Prime. It helps out the channel a whole lot. We really appreciate the support. In any case, I know I actually looked back at the July calendar for the competitions, and there's like a competition every weekend if you want to travel for it. But since you guys haven't been speaking up about it, we probably won't worry too much about training for them. So let us know if you still want to do the one at the end of the month, July 29th. What else? I think we're wrapping up side control this week, so definitely be a class on Saturday to catch the last lesson, and tomorrow on Thursday as well for Gi Night. Anything else?
I don't think so.
All right, cool. Well, thanks again for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you back on the mats. Go trim your nails and do your laundry, and don't be stinky. Take it easy.